Well, welcome to Branson Life. We are at the Grand Country Buffet.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm here with Shannon.
Yeah, and I'm here with Christopher.
We just thought we'd talk about some stuff. We did these Branson Life videos a few years ago.
Yep.
And suddenly, I'm getting like 25,000 views a month on some of these things, where people want to know just what everyday life is like.
Yeah.
And we have everyday life.
Absolutely. I get a lot of questions. People message me on Facebook.
Do you?
And they are fascinated that I have kids. I have a wife. I have two girls, 11 and 14. I have a wife. I know. Who would have guessed that an entertainer is...
How is that possible? I've had 5. So.
5? That's amazing. Maybe this one's going to stick.
Well,
this one's going to be good.
She's just one wrong opinion away from being an ex. That's what I tell her.
Yeah, it's not you against some woman. It's you against every woman.
Yeah.
So it's... That's Daniel Tosh. That's my favorite. One of his my favorite jokes. But people always message. They want to know, like, hey, you do this. You live here. You go to church here in town. And I was like, it's a job. Like, it's a normal. I love what I do. I have a passion for what I do. I enjoy comedy and performing, and I like all the intricacies of what we do. But we live here. We shop here. We go to the Walmart, and I think that's what fascinates me. My first year, did I ever tell you this story? First year in town, we lived in Hollister, and I was at the Country Mart, the little grocery store over there, and Tony Orlando is in line.
He's just there.
He's just like me, buying groceries. Now, I did let him go first. I said, man, go ahead.
Did I tell you my Gallagher story?
No. Oh, you got to...
I got to have a drink for this one.
Okay.
Did you meet Gallagher when he was here?
Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. I heard some stories, though. My friends got some stories about when he was in town.
Yeah. When I'm not on stage, I'm a completely different person. I tend to keep to myself. Yeah. I don't want to be the funny guy, anything like that. And so I'm at Country Mart, and I'm trying to buy cupcakes for somebody's birthday thing. They message me, can you pick them up on your way? I'm like, yeah. So I buy these things because I love doing that sort of thing. And so I'm standing in line, and Gallagher comes up and just starts eating some of my cupcakes from my basket.
What?
Yeah, like I have a shopping cart. And I turn around, and I see him eating it, and he's going, this is delicious, like that. I go, what are you doing? He says, I just thought I was hungry. I thought I'd have some cupcakes. He goes, I'm Gallagher. I go, I know who you are. Now I know that I got to go back and get more cupcakes and stand in line again. Yeah. He's like, what if I give you tickets? I go, what if you don't? What if you go and get me some cupcakes? Yeah. And it became like a big, weird situation. So you do run into weird people, different people.
Did you hear about the time that there wasn't enough people in his audience, and he told the manager to just go across the street to the grocery store? This is when he was at the Majestic, right here at the Thunderbird Theater. He said, just go across the street and buy him some chips and beer, and let's call it even. Like, he didn't want to go out. Like, he didn't want
to do his show. I thought he was going over to get people to come over.
No, there wasn't enough people in the audience. He had, like, I don't know, a row maybe, or what. He's like, this is ridiculous.
But see,
I'm
it's
not doing
their
a
fault,
show.
Right? Lots of times.
It's not.
Might have been his fault.
But like, he was just like, just go buy him some chips and beer. I'm not doing a show. Yeah. And they were like, you have to do a show. Here's your contract. Yeah. And somebody told me that story, and I just find it weird because we've all done shows for, 2 people or a row or whatever at some point in your career, whether it be way back.
Mine was Echo Hollow.
Oh, man.
It rained all day, and they decided to have the show. We had 5 people, and like 3 of them were with somebody in the cast.
I did that with Echo Hollow, and if you worked Echo, you've done shows for 5 people, and it is a nightmare because they're not laughing. There's not enough people to ever have that wildfire of laughter. Like, you're just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, my problem was I needed 7 people for my act. So I had to call 2 people from the back.
We did a saloon show like that, and there was at least like 7 volunteers throughout the whole 40-minute show, and it had rained, and it was just a miserable day, and we opened the door, and there was hardly anybody, and they all came in, and we just told them in the opening, looks like all of you guys are going to be getting up at some point, so just get ready. We're going to have some fun, because it's I don't know. I think it's just interesting. It's whether or not you can. It's a challenge, though, right? Do you find it a challenge? Like, you walk out. Is
that the word for it?
Well, let's say Showboat, right? Okay. You walk out. There's like 100 people, which would be an empty room for that size venue. But do you go like, or do you go like, all right, because now I've got the challenge to take what I do or what I planned on doing and then really working these people that are scattered everywhere.
Well, we're lucky there. They all sit down front because they have a assigned seat.
Oh.
But yes, what I find are some of my best shows are when I go out and there's grumpy people.
Oh, yeah,
and they're just sitting there, like this.
Yeah.
And I work so hard to either get them on my side or to get everybody against them.
Oh,
so
man.
Either way works out. And so those are some of my best shows. And our wait staff even says that some of the best ones I do are the small crowds because I treat it like a comedy club.
Yeah.
And I'm doing improv. Well, where are you from? Where are you from?
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
That's good. That's what I like. We get those every now and then at the comedy show, like at the beginning. You say something and you upset them somehow. I don't know. And we still don't
like,
know.
hello.
Because the wife was rolling. Rolling, but the husband.
Yep.
He's like, just daring us. I dare you to make me laugh, kind of thing. The whole show, we never couldn't.
It's frustrating because I point them out and I say, well, somebody forced them to be here.
Absolutely.
Or I have a line in the show where I say, well, if you're not having a good time, you know, it's not our fault. We have something for everybody here in this show. But it is tough in this town. You know, Gallagher, you were saying, had a few people, but Bob Nelson moved here.
Yes.
Remember Bob?
Very funny. He was I'm 27.
Yeah, Jiffy Jeff. He does Jiffy Jeff's gym. And he does the football.
Fantastic.
Thing. Yeah, all-star football game. But he's amazing. I'm a big, huge fan of Bob's. And he came here to town. He would come to our show all the time. And he would tell me stories where he would go out and there would be less than a half dozen people.
Yeah.
And he would tell them, I can do this or we can go hang out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I felt bad for him. But it doesn't matter how big of a name you are
to
come here because we've had, Willie Nelson?
Yep.
We've had Mike Patrick. We've had huge names.
Jamie Hagee. Absolutely.
No, let's not push it.
Well, that's not.
He always gets a crowd.
Yeah, he does. He does get a go.
There's always like.
There's been good. You get some big names, but everybody can run into that situation where it just wasn't right for everybody's schedule, so they didn't all show up. But you got to give them a show. You got to give them what they paid for, and
we don't have a choice.
No, and it's going to be fun. They're going to have a good time. I had 27, what did we end up with? 29 for a pet show, and there were very few children. I gear my pet show to kids.
Right.
Like I say mine, but I do my part of the pet show to kids. There was very few. It was all adults. It was the Friday. Somehow they put a Friday before Martin Luther King Day on that Monday. They put the Friday before. Kids aren't out of school.
Oh,
nobody's in town, but there was a show. So we did the show, and they all left having a great time. They came back to other shows. They said they had a great time. But let me just say, while we were in that moment, I wasn't feeling the enthusiasm. You know, like there wasn't a lot to clap. There just wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a good situation, and it really challenged me because I had no kids getting up. I ended up getting some adults to do some of the same things that the kids were doing, and I was like, I don't know how this, in my brain, I don't know how this is going to be, but I was open to whatever happens is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like an improv game. You treat it all
I did
like an
that
improv
sort
game.
of thing. I did a show way back, and I walked out 0 kids. I don't use a lot of kids in the show.
Right.
But I have 2 parts to get the parents on my side, where I make the kids look really cute. I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen? So I ended up getting up this woman, must have been 70 years old, and treating her like the little kid. So what do your mommy and daddy do?
Yeah.
Like asking all the same questions, and it went great. So then I started doing that all the time. Still do it at the Showboat, and people are like, that's like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Like he treats the adults like the little kids. And it worked out. So there you go.
You learn something new, and I like that. I like it because you come up with a new routine because of whatever situation arose. You're like, I didn't know I could do it.
And you learn to
way.
cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I do that.
We do that a lot
I do
as
that a lot.
entertainers.
I do
It's
that
good. I
constantly.
got a
My
big
eyes are all
giant pillow for my huge head, and I just put my face into it
And just scream.
yeah, it's good. It's healthy.
It
You
is.
got to let it out.
All right. Well, that's what it's like to do shows here when you have no one.
I don't know. We kind of went down a rabbit hole. We started talking
We
about
did.
and went around the way, but
That's how these go.
We just live here, and you can get on Facebook and you can message us, and we'll answer you. Of course, he's probably got a team of people that answer your Facebook?
My
Do you
twins.
actually
I just
do?
let them.
Oh yeah.
Do I do what?
Do you have the twins answer all your?
I just let them just type.
Yeah.
So I figure one day they're either going to answer the messages or finish a Twilight novel. So it's pretty much the same. So.
Wouldn't that be great? Your novel.
I know.
And then you could just kick back and
Well,
buy an
I
island.
am writing one that is a virtual reality of Earth where George Michael and Wham are vampires. They're called Whampires.
I love it.
I love it. It's coming out. Wake me up before you go.
Oh, I like that. That's going to be great. Got to have faith. Except
There you
don't
go.
bring the crosses around because he's a vampire.
All right, that was good. That was good.